So, have you heard that new Drake and The Weeknd track?
You mean Heart on My Sleeve?
Yeah, the one that, well, kind of blew up the internet.
Yeah, it's certainly got people talking for a few different reasons, I think.
Well, for one thing, it's AI generated, right? Not actually Drake and The Weeknd.
Yeah, that's right. It was created using artificial intelligence, which makes it, well, kind of groundbreaking.
Definitely raises a whole bunch of questions about, like, what even IS music now.
Yeah, big questions. And to make things even more, well, I guess controversial is the word, the song supposedly about Drake and The Weeknd fighting over Selena Gomez.
Oh, right. I read about that.
Yeah.
Adds a whole other layer of, like, is this real or is this fake? What's the point?
It really blurs the lines, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Anyone could create a Drake song or a Taylor Swift song with the right software. What does that even mean for artists and their music?
It's a bit unnerving, right? Like, I love music, but if anyone can just churn out a hit song with a few clicks, does it devalue the art?
That's a question a lot of people are grappling with. The creator of Heart on My Sleeve, who calls themselves Ghostwriter, which, by the way, is a pretty clever pseudonym, released a statement saying, "This is just the beginning." And that feels, well, a bit ominous, wouldn't you say?
A little bit, yeah. Almost like a challenge. Like they're saying, hey, music industry, get ready for a wild ride.
And honestly, it feels like they might be right. The technology is getting pretty sophisticated. We're talking about AI models like WaveNet and Jukebox, which can analyze an artist's voice down to like the tiniest detail.
Okay, hold on. Before we get too deep into the existential crisis of it all, can you break down how this actually works? I mean, how do you go from existing Drake songs to a whole new track with his voice?
Sure. So it all starts with training data. These AI models are fed massive amounts of an artist's vocal performances. And the AI basically learns the unique fingerprint of that voice, the timbre, the phrasing, even the emotional nuances.
So it's like the AI is learning the artist's musical DNA, and then it can use that DNA to create something new.
That's a good way to put it. And in the case of Heart on My Sleeve, it was convincing enough to fool millions of listeners. And it's not just Drake and The Weeknd. We've seen AI-generated tracks featuring, um, let's see, Rihanna singing a Beyonce song, Kanye West doing Hey There, Delilah. It's pretty wild.
Wild is one word for it. I've also heard terrifying and game-changing, depending on who you ask.
Right, and understandably so. I mean, the music industry is definitely paying attention. Universal Music Group, for example, is urging streaming services to block AI companies from using copyrighted music to train their software. I'm not messing around.
It's like the Wild West out there right now, but with algorithms instead of cowboys.
Good analogy. And honestly, everyone's trying to figure out what the rules are in this new frontier.
Yeah.
What are the legal implications, the ethical considerations?
Yeah, and let's not forget the impact on artists, both established and aspiring. It's a lot to unpack.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the question of what all this means for the future of music itself. Is this the end of human creativity as we know it? Or the beginning of something even more extraordinary?
It's a big question and one we're going to delve into much deeper, so stay tuned. So we've painted a pretty dramatic picture of the AI music landscape so far.
Yeah, we've talked lawsuits, existential crises, the whole shebang.
But before we all spiral into a digital dystopian nightmare, I think it's worth remembering that, well, the music industry has always been kind of chaotic.
Right, like change and disruption are kind of baked into its DNA.
Exactly. Think about it. We've gone from vinyl records to cassettes to CDs to streaming, and each time people freaked out, saying it was the end of music as we know it.
And yet, here we are, still listening, still creating, still feeling that, that emotional connection.
So maybe instead of seeing AI as this like monster that's going to devour the music industry, we could see it as, I don't know, maybe like a new instrument in the orchestra.
I like that analogy. A new instrument with its own unique capabilities and, of course, its own challenges.
Because, I mean, there are potential upsides here, right? Like imagine a world where anyone can create music, regardless of their technical skills or resources.
Exactly. AI could democratize music production,
Yeah.
making it accessible to anyone with a laptop and an internet connection.
That's pretty cool when you think about it. It could empower aspiring musicians who might not have the means to, like, hire a producer or rent a studio.
And for established artists, AI could be a tool for pushing creative boundaries, exploring new sounds, collaborating in new ways.
I mean, there's already a lot of experimentation happening, right? Like I read about David Guetta using AI to clone Eminem's voice for a track.
He did. And, Guetta's perspective is interesting because he's not afraid to use AI in his music. but he also emphasizes the importance of the human touch, the artist's vision, the emotional expression.
So is he saying that AI can create the building blocks, but the human artist is still the architect?
That's a great way to put it. And that raises the question, can AI truly capture that human element, that spark of creativity, the raw emotion that connects with us on such a deep level?
I mean, it's a pretty deep question. Like, what even IS creativity? Can a machine truly be creative?
Well, that might be a conversation for another deep dive. But for now, I think the important thing is to acknowledge that AI is changing the game. It's up to us to figure out how to play it.
And speaking of playing the game, there's that whole legal and ethical minefield we need to navigate. Like, who actually owns the rights to AI-generated music?
Right, that's a big one. It challenges our traditional notions of copyright and intellectual property.
So, if I create an AI song that sounds exactly like, say, Billie Eilish, do I owe her royalties? Does she have any say in how that song is used?
Those are the kinds of questions courts are starting to grapple with, and there are no easy answers. It's a completely uncharted territory.
Okay, so legally it's a mess, but ethically it feels even more complicated. Like, what about the potential for AI to be used to deceive or manipulate people?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. Think about deepfakes, but for audio. Creating fake speeches, spreading misinformations, damaging reputations.
It's scary stuff. And then there's the question of bias. Like, if AI is trained on data that's already biased, won't it just perpetuate those biases in the music it creates?
Absolutely. That's why it's crucial to have diverse voices involved in the development of AI to make sure that technology is used responsibly and ethically.
It feels like we need to be really careful here. Like, we're opening Pandora's jukebox, and we need to make sure we don't unleash a bunch of, like, musical demons.
Colorful analogies.
Yeah.
But I think it's apt. We need to be mindful of the potential consequences as we embrace these new tools and technologies.
It's like, yeah, AI has the potential to be amazing, but it also has the potential to be, well, kind of a disaster if we're not careful.
Agreed. We need to proceed with both caution and curiosity.
Speaking of curiosity, I'm really interested in hearing how independent artists are using AI. Because it's not just about the big labels and the tech giants, right?
Definitely not. There's a whole groundswell of artists who are experimenting with AI in really exciting ways, using it to break creative boundaries, to connect with audiences in new ways.
So instead of fearing AI as a replacement, they're seeing it as a collaborator, like a tool to amplify their own unique voices.
Exactly. And I think that's where the real magic of AI lies, not in replacing human creativity, but in empowering it.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. How are independent artists actually using AI in their music-making process?
Well, one common use is for generating melodies and chord progressions. AI can analyze vast data sets of music and suggest new combinations of notes and harmonies, sparking ideas, helping overcome writer's block.
So it's like having a digital songwriting partner, bouncing ideas back and forth.
Yeah, kind of like that. AI can also be used to create custom instruments and sounds, expanding the sonic palette in ways that were previously unimaginable.
I remember seeing a video of Grimes using AI to create a song with her voice, even though she doesn't play any instruments. It was pretty mind-blowing.
It's amazing to see how AI is giving artists new tools to express themselves. And it's not just about creating new sounds. AI can also help with the more technical aspects of music production, like mixing and mastering, for example.
That's huge for independent artists who often have limited budgets and resources.
Exactly. AI can level the playing field, giving them access to tools and techniques that were previously only available to major label artists.
So it's not just a creative tool, it's a business tool as well.
Absolutely. AI can help independent artists with marketing and promotion, analyzing data to identify target audiences and personalize their outreach.
It's like AI is becoming this multifaceted Swiss Army knife for musicians. But let's address the elephant in the room, that whole fear of AI taking over and putting musicians out of work. Is that a legitimate concern?
It's definitely a conversation worth having. Some jobs in the music industry will likely become automated as AI technology advances.
So there's no sugarcoating it. Some people might lose their jobs.
That's a possibility. But I think it's important to remember that throughout history, technological advancements have often led to the creation of new jobs and industries that we couldn't have even imagined before.
Right, like the invention of the car put blacksmiths out of business, but it created a whole new industry around automobiles. So maybe it's not about AI versus humans, but about finding ways for them to work together.
Exactly. I think the key will be for musicians to adapt and integrate AI into their creative processes, using it as a tool to enhance their own unique talents.
So instead of being replaced by AI, musicians can learn to leverage its power to create something even more amazing. But what about the listener? How will all this affect the way we experience and connect with music?
That's a fascinating question, and one that I think we're only beginning to explore. But imagine a world where you can have a personalized soundtrack for your life, curated by an AI that understands your musical preferences.
Like you're feeling sad and the AI plays something melancholy and soothing. Or you're feeling pumped up and it blasts you with some high energy EDM.
Exactly. AI could make music a much more immersive and personalized experience.
Yeah.
But it also raises some concerns about, the potential for us to become trapped in our own little musical bubble.
Right. Like if the AI only feeds us what it thinks we want to hear, we might miss out on discovering new genres and artists that we didn't even know we loved.
That's a valid concern. And it highlights the importance of maintaining a sense of curiosity and exploration, even in an AI-driven world.
It's like we still need to be active participants in our musical journey, not just passive consumers of what the algorithm serves up.
Absolutely. And there's also the question of how AI might impact the social aspect of music. Like, will it change the way we experience live concerts or share music with friends?
There's something so special about like singing along to your favorite song with a bunch of strangers at a concert. I don't know if an AI could ever replicate that feeling.
It's hard to imagine. But maybe there are ways to use AI to enhance those social experiences, to create new forms of connection and collaboration through music.
Like, what if you could use AI to remix the music at a concert in real time, along with everyone else in the audience?
Now, that would be an interesting experiment.
It's like the possibilities are endless and we're only just starting to explore them. But as we dive deeper into this AI-powered world, I think it's crucial to remember that technology is just a tool. It's up to us as humans to use it wisely and ethically.
I completely agree. The future of music isn't something that's predetermined. It's something we're actively shaping with our choices and actions. And I believe we have the power to create a future where music continues to thrive, evolve, and inspire, enriched by the possibilities of AI.
All right, so we've journeyed through the AI music landscape, seen the good, the bad, and the potentially very weird.
We've explored the tech, the legal battles, the ethical dilemmas, the whole symphony of anxieties and possibilities.
But now, for the grand finale, let's try to answer that big looming question.
The one that's been echoing throughout this whole deep dive.
Exactly. What does the future hold for music in the age of AI? Will robots be headlining Coachella? Will songwriters become obsolete?
Well, I don't think it's going to be quite as dramatic as like a robot rock apocalypse.
Okay, good. Because I gotta say, those robot musicians in that Gorillaz video were pretty freaky.
Right. But I think the reality will be much more nuanced, more of a blending of worlds than a complete takeover.
Blending like a musical smoothie with algorithms and emotions all mixed together.
Yeah, something like that. I think AI will become an increasingly powerful tool for musicians, helping them with everything from generating ideas to polishing the final product.
So it's more like AI will be the studio assistant and the human artist will still be the maestro.
Precisely. The heart and soul of music will still come from human creativity, from that spark of inspiration, the raw emotion, the unique perspective that only a human can bring.
But AI can help amplify that human touch, right? Like take it to new levels.
Absolutely. Imagine a world where artists can use AI to create truly personalized music experiences, tailored to each listener's tastes and emotions.
Okay, now that's a future I can get behind. Like a custom Drake song that speaks directly to my soul. Sign me up.
And what about immersive, interactive concerts where the audience can use AI tools to shape the music alongside the artist?
Okay, now we're talking. That would be next level amazing. No more just standing there, bobbing your head. You're actually part of the creative process.
Exactly. It's about blurring the lines between performer and listener, creating something truly collaborative and dynamic.
I'm already feeling more optimistic about this whole AI thing. It's like, yeah, there are challenges and risks, but there's also so much potential for something really cool to emerge.
And who knows, maybe AI will even help us create entirely new genres of music, sounds, and rhythms that have never been heard before.
Now, that's exciting. It's like opening a door to a whole new universe of sonic possibilities.
It's definitely a journey worth taking. But, as we've discussed, we need to proceed with both caution and a sense of responsibility.
Right. We can't just blindly embrace every shiny new tech toy without considering the potential consequences.
Exactly. We need to have those tough conversations about copyright, about bias, about the potential for misuse.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about technology versus humanity. It's about finding ways to use technology to enhance our humanity, to create a better world for everyone.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So where do we go from here? What can we, as listeners, as music lovers, do to help shape this AI-powered future in a positive way?
Well, first and foremost, we can stay informed. Learn about the technology, engage in thoughtful discussions, and make conscious choices about the music we consume and support.
So no more just hitting play on whatever the algorithm throws at us.
It's about being more mindful, more intentional, seeking out artists who are using AI in ethical and innovative ways, and supporting initiatives that promote diversity and inclusivity in music.
Because ultimately, the future of music is in our hands, right? It's up to all of us to decide what kind of world we want to create.
That's the beauty of it. It's an ongoing conversation, a collaborative composition that we're all writing together.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, explored some complex ideas, and hopefully sparked some thought-provoking conversations along the way.
It's been a pleasure exploring these uncharted territories with you.
The pleasure was all mine. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep your ears open, your minds curious, and remember, the music is just getting started.